1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 3 hands. Well, it's all the threes, isn't it? Oh, that's why, because it is a triple sensor. Hello.
Mr. Rangeman, we have something of yours.
I'm sorry, but I'm not missing anything.
You don't understand, Mr. Rangeman. This is something you've been waiting for a very long time. Mr. Rangeman. Mr. Rangeman.
I'm thinking.
Mr. Rangeman, we don't have much time. We need to drop it off now, and I mean now. Mr.
I know what it is.
This is classified, Mr. Rangeman, and here are your new documents. You'll find everything you'll need, including the name you requested.
Interesting. Commander Mudmaster.
Yes, because you'll need this.
Looks like I need to go for a drive. Why is the GWG-1000 Mudmaster so sweet? There's a certain amount of functions you need. Complement that with your own skills gives you great strength. There's times you need to go off grid and have no connection. In a simple format, let me explain. You are offered some cake. Your instincts quickly calculate what you need. Too much slows you down. Too little leaves you wanting more. Just the right amount keeps you going. Dr. Bolex.
How did you find me?
Well, let's say it was a piece of cake.
Do I get a cherry on top?
Of course.
By the way, Mr. Rangeman, how was it being Mr. Mudmaster?
Well, this is going to be the tutorial side to this Mudmaster, and in the description you'll find all the timestamps so you can skip to exactly where you need the most. What I have done, I've created another instructions, and these are full downloadable in the description. The link is found there, and this is in PDF format. Now, this manual covers all these modules here. It possibly could cover some more, but I put the main ones there. And this is the Casio G-Shock GWG-1000 Mudmaster, and I think the GWG stands for Gravitational Waveceptor G-Shock. Well, that's just my imagination running off there. Anyway, this has the menu here and is one of 16, and the first menu will cover the display layout, which is the hands LCD display, subdial, CityCodes, and the difference indicator. Then number 2 will be the button layout, showing you the button functions. Then there's the home time functions, and this is basic button operations while in home time, showing you the display, which covers the day, month, and date. Then it does the month date with the barograph, and then shows the time. Then I'm going to cover the backlight, and then there's hand shift, and this is up to 10 seconds. Then menu 4 is the battery and power saving. This covers the battery levels, the low battery warning, and the power save information. Then on menu number 5, this is adjustments in home time, and this is 1 of 3. So 1 of 3 will show you the watch adjustments. This covers the city, daylight saving, key, mute, auto backlight, light duration, and 12 and 24 hour. Then there's 2 of 3, and this is for the time and date adjustments. This covers the hour and minute adjustment, which works together. Then you can adjust the hour independently, and you can adjust the year and month and date. And note, the month and date are paired adjustments. They're paired together, which is quite unusual. 3 of 3 is the hand calibration. This is automatic and does the hour, minute, and second hand. And this is all part of that tough solar side. Then menu 6 is the compass, and this is just to show you that it is a 60-second continuous compass showing the bearing and the degrees, and I also cover the calibration. Then number 7 was altimeter. This has a continuous of either 1 hour up to 12 hours of continuous, manual recording, difference indicator, and I will also cover the calibration. Then there is the mode side, and this is going to be barometer, temperature, recall, stopwatch, timer, alarm, and with the signal, WorldTime, and the RC, which is the atomic sync multi-band 6. So here it has all the little bits of information, which is just to sort of help you understand what these all do. But there is an extra one, number 16. This is test screens. I have included a manual how to operate the test screens. How fancy is that? And original. So let's go on to the very first one. Number 1, this is the display layout, and I've done it in color coded like that. So I hope you're not colorblind, but I've also put little arrows so you can understand what's going on. So let's start off on the outer edge here. This is the WorldTime CityCode disk here. I mentioned this is up to 29 CityCodes. Then there is an AM and PM icon, which is up the top there. Then there's this yellow part here. Well, it might be different depending on the model, but I've put it yellow here. And this is the difference indicator. So basically using the second hand, it will tell you whether it is over or under. And this is with relation to the barometer, the weather, or the altimeter. Then there's the display for the LCD right there. Then is the subdial here, which is one of the big strengths on this Mudmaster. Right, you second hand are going to be always in the way, aren't you? Yes, there we go. Let's get you out of the way. So when it's in the upright position here and pointing to this upside down sort of triangle, that is always in home time. And I like the fact that they've got the barometer and the temperature in this very nice sort of yellow format here, because it is a triple sensor, but the barometer sensor does share it with the altimeter side. And then you have the more options here in the mode, and they're abbreviated right down to 2 letters, and then it starts off with record and it goes all the way through the stopwatch and then finishes on the RC. Menu number 2, this is the button layout, and I have completely ruined this because in the original manual it's not listed as A, B, C, D. The buttons or the letters are related to what actually the button does. So in this case, the B would be the barometer and it would be down here. A would be the altimeter, which would be over here. D will be Boo! My dyslexic brain has failed me and I cannot remember. Display. That's it. It would be display. And C will be your compass. You see, I'm already confused. So I'm going to lay it out like this so I can really follow it easy and so I don't confuse you. The crown is the crown and the L button is the light button. So let's keep it sweet like this. And below I've done a little menu to each of these buttons. So A is your main adjust button. It also does the display for the day, month, date. It shows the barograph with the month and date, and then it goes to time. B is your compass button, which also does the stopwatch reset lap, and it's also a backward adjustment. Button C is your mode. This does the baro, temp, recall, stopwatch, timer, and also all the way through, and it also does the hand shift. Then you have the altimeter on button D. This also does the stopwatch for start, stop. This does the timer for start, stop, a manual RC retrieve and forward adjust, and also has one other function called refresh. And then you'll have the backlight, and this also does the hand shift. The crown is screw down and has only one position, and I've nicked a little bit of the diagram from the manual just to show you how it works. And here, any button can silence the alarm tone. So moving down is menu number 3, and this is the home time functions. Just to point out that the content is displayed without time limit. This is only in home time, by the way. So you press button A and this will show you the date. You press again, it will show you the barometer pressure graph, and it will show you the date again, but without the day of the week. And then if you press again, it will show you the time. And then if you press again, it just recycles back to the date. So nothing like going into the actual watch and showing you physically. Thank you, secondhand. You can't wait to have your guest appearance again. Anyway, here it's showing the day of the week. TU is Tuesday. Then it shows the month, and then it shows the date. And just like to point out that these can't be swapped around to the English format, so you can't have the 25th of the month. So Casio, you listening? Sort this out. Anyway, so let's press the adjust button here, and there straight away into the graph. It is going to be flashing here, and this is just to point out about the trend, and I will come back to this and explain what I mean there. And there it's showing the month and the date. Pressing again, it comes back to the time. You've got the hours, you've got the minutes and the seconds. But note that the seconds are the same size as the minutes. So if you have your sleeve and you're wearing it on your left side and you are obscuring the hour, you could mistakenly, thank you secondhand, you are just a treat, aren't you? Waiting for you, because you're going to ruin my little demo here. So the sleeve covers the hour and all you see is those two there. So just to let you know, don't sort of get that wrong. Anyway, then press button A, goes back, and as mentioned, you can select any one of these. There is no time limit. It will just stay where it is. Doesn't matter if you go through all the modes. Once you come back, it will stay where you had it left off. Okay, so it says use the timekeeping mode, time, just to show you that it doesn't matter where you are in the watch. A long press on the mode button here, you watch the display, it will come up with time. And that's what it basically means. Ignore the other thing, I'm going to cover that in a minute. I've got a cold today, so maybe I'm a bit sluggish today. Anyway, let's move on and go to the backlight. And yes, I did this animation here. I made it all blue. So in home time, this is just an example. You push the light button, the L button, and it will illuminate the dial, and also it will illuminate the display. So yes, it has two bulbs. And note that the backlight can be used while in adjustment or in any mode adjustment, i.e. the alarm. This is really good, because on some G-Shocks you notice that if they're using this button here as the lights, the backlight button, but if you're in the adjustment side and you're adjusting, say, the minutes or the hours in the alarm, then this button doesn't work as the backlight anymore. So you have to either put it on auto backlight or put the light on. So I really do like this. See? This may be sort of 6 or so years old, but it's still right up there and very impressive. And if you look at menu 5 for light duration adjustment, so you can just skip to that. And here just to recap, the backlight can be operated in any mode or any function unless hands are in operation. So if the hands are in operation, for an example, if you're using the compass and you press the backlight, the compass will stop for a moment. Once the backlight goes out, then it will carry on using as a compass. So let's have a look at the backlight. I'm going to have to hit some lights. Let's get those off like that. Look at that. Nice background, isn't it? Just a short press on the backlight and it does it like that. Maybe I need to get a bit closer. Like that, see? It's not a strong backlight, but I'll tell you what, it is just enough, and especially in the middle of the night, you don't want it too bright. Compared to the GWG-1000 Mudmaster, the backlight on that is like a torch, but the one little downside is when you push the backlight, the bulb is so bright that, it really does burn those retinas for a little few seconds. But this is a nice, mild sort of backlight. But you can actually use the backlight, so I'll make sure I'm out of focus because it's the best. Look at that, such a pro. There you can see the backlight is actually illuminating my hand, so that's enough light there. So if you want to get a key in a door, in your front door, you could actually use it that way. But for reading a book or a cyclopedia like on the other Mudmaster, you can really pretty much forget it. This won't light up the entire room like the other one. So I do like that sort of mildness, and it's in a sort of a blue as well, and then the rest of the dial is in that sort of nice sort of white because of the markers, and the markers are lumed, just to point out. So should I get my Lume gun out? So this is the Lume gun from Luminox. I'm just going to give that a little charge because it uses a UV light, and then off it goes. Look at that. And it even lights up the second hand. It lights up the numbers. It basically just lights up everything on that dial. It doesn't light up the sub dial though, but by pressing the backlight you can see it like that. Look at that. So you've got a best of both worlds. How long does the Lume last? Well, it's not too bad. It would last much of the night, but as I say, you do have the backlight for convenience. Anyway, that's the backlight side done. Yeah, I enjoyed that, testing out the backlight there in the dark. Anyway, let's move on and go to the hand shift, and I've done some little animation here, and yeah, this is actually taken from the original manual, but here is a before and after, and basically what it's doing, it's going to shift the hands and put them into the 2 o'clock position, and this is also for the second hand. So here's some print, and I'm going to read it out to you. Pressing buttons L and C together will shift the main hands to the 2 o'clock position for 10 seconds and then return back to normal function, and this will work in home time and in the modes as well, so just to let you know. And here is some more information here which isn't listed in the manual. I actually discovered this myself. So once the hands shift to the 2 o'clock position, holding down either button L or C will keep the hands in the shift position, then releasing the button will return the hands to the normal function after the 10 seconds. And I just want to point out that when selecting a mode, the hands will shift for 2 seconds automatically if they're obscuring the display. So here's a little example here. I'm just going to choose, say, the barometer, and then you can see the hands just moving a little bit and then back again. So it's just enough to sort of observe the information on the display. So let's get the watch and show you a demonstration. So this is in home time. It doesn't matter if you're in any of the other modes. Press the light button and the mode button together and it makes a little chirp, and you can see the second hand really flies quickly, and point out that that second hand is made of carbon fiber, and then it holds it in this 2 o'clock position, completely taking them away from all of the information. So you can see the dial there, and then you can see the display as well, so then it just goes back. So if I do that and then hold down, say, on the light button, I can hold this down for much longer, and you can see that the second hand is, well, the seconds there are counting, and that is going over the 10 seconds, around about sort of, it's well over the 10 seconds. Look at that. So if I release now, you can count and see how long it takes before it goes back, and it's coming up. So there you go. So 10 seconds. So if I wanted to do that and use the mode button, push, and then just keep my finger or my thumb, it's on the mode button there, and it will do the same thing. But if you push the light button and then release the mode button, it still holds it like that. And then you can release, and if you release it within sort of a few seconds and push again, it just keeps it held like that. So there's another addition. Now, I haven't put this in the manual because I've only just discovered this really literally within about a few minutes. Look at that. So I keep pushing that. Anyway, so then it goes back, and you can just push any button as well to release. So while it's doing that, if you just push the mode button, then it just stops it. So if you didn't want that to happen by mistake, then you can at least stop it. So moving on is menu number 4, and this is the battery and the power saving. So here you can see the power levels on the watch. So what you do, hold down button C, remember I did that just to show you the time, for 2 seconds to enter the timekeeper mode, and there you remember it came up with time. But it's got this little letter here. You can get an idea of the watch's power level is by observing that little indicator there. And there is several little power levels, and the first one is H. This is the first one, so that is high, and this is all functions enabled. Then you have power level M, which is level 2, and this is all functions enabled. And then it goes to level 3, which is showing L, and this is for low. And this is auto and manual retrieve, which is basically the multiband 6, the backlight, beeper, the sensor operations will all be disabled, and the second hand will start to jump every 2 seconds. And then it goes down to the L with the battery, and this is where it's getting quite severe. And then you goes to level 4, this is charge. Now there is a YouTube channel I follow called StormRider, and he did a video on his Mudmaster, and he actually got this to flash. So maybe pop over there if you want to know what it looks like. But here in my light box, I've got too much light. I'm not going to be able to deplete the battery so quick. Anyway, so all hands stop at 12 o'clock and all functions are disabled. And then you'll have these 3 little dashes here. This means all the hands will stop at 12 o'clock, all functions disabled, and the settings return to their initial factory default. So that is really a bad place to go. So really try and keep your watch in the medium and to high. High preferably is the best way to keep the battery maintained. Now I want to cover the power save mode. So just to point out, the watch will not enter the power save mode if the stopwatch timer and the barometer are in operation. So let's just say that the watch is in normal timekeeping mode, and so left in the dark between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. it will go into the power save, or thereafter from 1 hour. So what I mean is, say from in the dark, from 10 p.m. it goes into power save. At 11 o'clock you decide to pick the watch up and start using it. If it's in between those hours and you put it back into the dark, then after 1 hour it will go back into the power save mode. So what does it do in the power save mode? The second hand stops and the display will go blank, but all functions will be enabled. If you continue to leave it in the dark and you left it for 6 days, all functions and the hands will stop when left in the dark for more than 6 days. I'm just repeating myself, but the time will still continue but won't be shown. Whereas if it's in within this time here, you'll, even though the second hand has stopped and the display is blank, the hour and minute hand will still continue to show the time. So just to show you that if you do leave it for 6 days and more and see that the hands are completely stopped, then just put it into light or push a button and it should resume. Now if you leave it any longer, I think you can leave it in total darkness and the watch will go in complete state of sleep. I think it can be up to 21 months. I haven't seen anyone test that, and the reason why is because it's such a great watch. Why would you want to leave it in the dark for 21 months? Might as well just flip it. Let's move on because I want to cover the adjustments in the home time, and this is one of 3. First adjustment of one of 3 is all the watch adjustments. So how do we enter that? So in home time, pull the crown out and the second hand turns and sets to one of the CityCodes. Now I've just put this bit here to want to highlight it because if no adjustments are made within 2 minutes, the display will indicate the crown needs to be pushed back in. There it is, you can see that. So what you do, you push the crown back in and then pull the crown back out again, and then you can continue with the adjustments. Just to say that when it is like this, you won't be able to adjust anything, so you have no choice but to push the crown in. So the first adjustment is City, and then City will flash, turning the crown clockwise or counterclockwise, adjusts the second hand to point to the CityCode. Remember, I mentioned the CityCode on the outside. I will give you a live demo in a minute, just hang on. Adjust the second hand so it is set to your home city or CityCode, or to the CityCode that matches your home time. Now, if you are in one of those CityCodes that is 15 offset, then you will have to adjust the watch manually, and I will cover this, and unfortunately RC won't work. Let's get the watch and show you. So it is unscrew the crown, and I must add that this crown is one of the best crowns I've used on a G-Shock. This really does beat the Gravity Master and the Golf Master I have. I think it's because it just has a lot more space in there. It's a lot bigger, just feels really good in the hand. And then once you unscrewed it, it pops out, and then it exposes this red ring, and then you actually do get a little gap there. This is in home time. Let's pull the crown out, makes a little beep, and there you can see that the city is flashing. And then the second hand will point to one of the CityCodes. At the moment that's pointed to the UTC, so turning clockwise or anti-clockwise, you can see it jumps, and it also will adjust the time as well, notice, like that. And then you can go back as well. So I'm going to choose London, and that's where it is. So let's go back into the manual and just have a little look. Once the CityCode is set, either push the crown back in or continue to the next adjustment by pressing button C to the daylight saving time option. Then pressing the mode button goes into the daylight saving time. So it comes up with DST, and at the moment it's flashing auto. Now this will be if you bought the watch brand new, fresh from the factory, but if you bought it used, it might have something else, but we'll go through it and then you'll understand. So the first option is auto, turning the crown clockwise. You can either force the daylight saving to be off all the time, and turning the crown again will force the daylight saving on. And notice that the hours did advance 1 hour, and when it's on it does come up with a little icon with the daylight saving there, and turning again recycles back to auto. So let's have a look in the manual. I've done the diagrams here just to show you. Auto off, on with the and then it just recycles back. Once set, push the crown in or continue and press button C. And the next one will be the button sound on or mute adjustment. And this is very, very easy. So turn the crown will adjust the sound to either be key on, and off will be mute. And then once selected, either push the crown back in. I keep repeating myself, but you might just want to change the mute, and then you don't want to go all the way through. So you know that if you push the crown back in, it takes you back out of the adjustment, and then you can press button C. It will go on to the next one. So just to give you a little demonstration, that's adjusted. I like it on auto. And then pressing the mode button, there is the key there. Note that the hands do sweep out the way of the display. I do like that. And then turning the crown, you have it on mute or you have it on key. There isn't any little icon to show you when you are in mute. When pressing the buttons, it won't make any tones, but when it's in the key, then you do have the tones, which is obvious. And just to point out, when it is in mute, this is just for the buttons pressing and for pulling the crown up. This is nothing to do with the alarm. The alarm will still function, and any other warnings you have on. So let's have that on key, and then once that's set, press the mode button, and then there is the auto, and this is for the auto backlight. Turning the crown, you either have this on or off, and again, there is no sort of icon to say that you have this on auto. And just to mention that, because this is a full auto backlight, that means when it's on, this will only work when it's in the dark, whereas on my GWG-1000 Mudmaster. This just works continuously regardless whether it's sunny or not. So this is where that tough solar movement really does come to play and act differently. So that's the auto backlight covered. And again, you can just push the crown back in, or you can press the C button, and this will go to the light duration. And here there it is 1, or you can have light 3. Basically, turn the crown will adjust the duration from either 1.5 seconds, and that's with the 1. Yeah, it's very confusing, I know. Or you can have the 3, which is more understanding as a 3-second backlight. So let me just quickly do that so you can follow. There it is. That's the auto light. I've got that turned off, so I'll just leave it like that. Pressing the mode button, goes to the light. I have this on maximum duration of 3 seconds because, you know, it's solar powered. It can take it. Turning the crown there, it shifts it to 1 and then back to 3 like that. Nice and easy. And again, you can push the crown back in, or you can press button C, and this will go on to adjust the 24-hour side. And there, by turning the crown, you can either have 12, 24 hours, and it just cycles through like that. If the 12-hour is selected, a P will be displayed. This will show you that it's in PM. Then pushing the mode button, there it is. There's 24 hours. If I turn the crown, it just goes to 12 hours like that. So let's go on to the next mode. Pushing that, it goes to the power save, and here you can either have it on or off. There it is, nice and easy. So I like to have it on power save. Why not? Have it in power save. I'm not doing anything when it's in the dark. So this is your power save, on off. Nice animation. There, all done nicely for you. Right, so once selected, either push the crown back in or press button C, and this will cycle back to the city. So let's just give you a demonstration. There it is on power save, and then pushing the mode button, there it goes, and it recycles back through. And this will go all the way through and just keep cycling. So nice and easy. You can stop in any mode or any adjustment side, and then once you're happy, just push the crown back in, and that is set. So moving on, the next adjustment is 2 of 3. This is the time and date adjustment. And it's all here, and this is to adjust the hour and minute. You can also just adjust the hour, you can adjust the year, and you can adjust the month and date. And this is paired together, and I will give you a demonstration. Here I've got it all laid out. There's 1, 2, and 3. So number 1 is here. In home time, you pull the crown out. Then when you pull the crown out, you have the city flashing. And then if you press button A here, then you go into the next adjustment, which comes up with hour minute, and that will flash like so. And there's some more details here. Just to point out that the second hand will point to either the A or P icon at the top there, and this is to indicate AM and PM. So you turn the crown 1 click at a time, will advance the minute and hand in 1 minute increasements. Hour hand will advance also with the minute hand. Turning the crown with 3 fast clicks will advance the minute and the hour hand automatically, and then turning again with another 3 fast clicks will advance the minute and hand even faster at an automatic rate. Now turning the crown counterclockwise or pressing any button will stop the hands. Just some more information here. When the hour hand passes at the 12 o'clock position, the second hand will indicate either A and P, and I'm going to give you a live demonstration. So let's pull the watch out here. So that's in home time. You can see it's counting the second hands. Crown is unscrewed. Let's pull that out. You can see city flashing. Now pressing the adjust button here, it goes to the hour and minute. And here, if I turn the crown, you'll see that the minute hand will advance 1 minute. And if I do the 3 clicks like that, you can see it going that fast. And if I was to repeat that, it will go even faster. So I can either turn the hand anti-clockwise or counterclockwise, or push any button to stop it. So let's just use this button up here, and it stops. And you can go backwards, and it only has the 1 speed going backwards. So I'll just do that. It's like that. It doesn't go any faster. I have tried. it only works with the fast going forwards. There, turn the crown in, it just stops like that. Nice and easy. Just want to show you that how the second hand works. At the moment that's pointing on the A there, and if I was to go forward like this, and what you're looking for, as soon as it gets to the 12 o'clock, that second hand is going to move over to the P side. There it goes. And that is to show whether it is AM and PM. So once set, either push the crown back in or press button C, and this will advance to the hour adjustment. And there I've got it all written. Again, I repeat myself with the A and P indicator there. Pressing button C here, the display now comes up with hour, and then when you turn the crown, it will advance just the hour at 1 hour increments. So really what you really need to do when you have the hour and minute displayed is just to adjust the minute, then press the mode, and then you can calibrate the hour. So I'm just going to take this back past the 12 o'clock. So I'm going to give you a demonstration of that second hand. At the moment that is pointing to the P, and when I go back it goes to the A, and then going forward, and you see, wow, it's really quick, isn't it? So I'm just going to leave it like that and then go on to the next part. Once set, you're going to push the crown back in or press the button C, and this will advance to the year adjustment. And here I've got it with the year. So turn the crown to advance the year, 3 clicks quickly, it will do this automatic fast forward, and then turning counterclockwise will stop it. So I've just make sure that I have everything sort of covered. Once set, you can push the crown back in or you can press button C, and this will advance to the month. And I've ringed it here to show that the month and the date actually are connected. So let's get to the month and the date part, and so that you can follow using the actual watch. So the hour is flashing, that's adjusted, pressed in button C, there it is, it comes up with the year. And here I'm going to give you a little demonstration that it can go fast like that. You can go really fast, look at that. And it goes up to 99, just to show you. There it goes, boom, and then it starts over. And then just turning the crown, you can just stop it or just pushing any button. So let's just get that on 2021. So once the year's set, you push the mode button there, and then it flashes together the month and the date, and it is like so. And then you can go fast like that. You can see it, and that is the only way to adjust those two together. So if it's really off with the months, unfortunately you have to sit it out and play it through like this. Once set, push the crown back in, as I keep mentioning, or press button C, and this will cycle back through to the minutes. So let's give you a demonstration. There it is, that's the months and date saved, just for example. Then press the mode button, there it is, it goes back, and then the hands are all aligned. Look at that. So when I go to the date, notice that the hands are aligned into the 2 o'clock position there. So yeah, okay, right, next one is hand calibration. So this is the last adjustment. This is of 3 of 3, the hand calibration, and say this is automatically. So once this is set, there's nothing else you can really do. It's all done with sensors in the watch. Very, very, very good. So in home time, you pull the crown out and City will flash. So there is home time. Pull the crown out and City is flashing on display with the second hand pointing to your CityCode. Then press and hold down button D for 5 seconds, the one down here, for 5 seconds, and hand set will be displayed flashing fast, followed by hand adjust flashing slowly, and then you release. So you do it like this. So the second hand will point to the 12 o'clock position, and then the hour and minute hand will slowly adjust with all the hands finally pointing to the 12 o'clock position. And this is the rocket o'clock position. And then the display will show this part here with pushing the crown in, and then that is the hand calibration set. Here it is in home time. Pull the crown out, it comes up with City. Then holding down on button D here, let's see what comes up. Hand set, keep it pushed in, and then it comes up with hand adjust. Now the second hand has gone straight to 12 o'clock, and now the hour hand is now moving. And this operation does take well, it can take a minute about that. So it's just sort of playing it out, and so that you can see what is happening. I mean, you might want to compare this video to a Mudmaster you just bought. Maybe it's a replica one you've just bought and you're not sure. Well, let's just say replicas. Replicas. See, I can't even replicate replica. Anyway, you get the idea anyway. So there comes the minute hand. It's coming around, and then once it's all adjusted, it will come up with the display to push the crown in. Here it comes, almost there. Come in, just doing a little wiggle. I think that's passing the sensor, and then and there, that is all calibrated, and there is your animation there. And then just push the crown back in, and that is calibrated. Good enough. Just to mention, because I haven't put this in the manual, I'm going to go back into that hand calibration again, and just to show you that when it is in this part here, when it's adjusting, if you push the crown back in, you aren't going to break it. This is all about hand calibration, nothing to do with the module. I can just pull that out, and then push that back in, and then watch that go to the hand adjust. See, nothing is broken. Next one, menu, is the compass. Now this is really sort of well, quite easy really. You're in home time, pressing button B will display comp on the display like that, and then start the compass, and after 60 seconds of activity on the compass, that will return back to home time. Now you can refresh by pressing button B during those 60 seconds, and then it will start another 60 seconds. The second hand will continuously point to north bearing, showing a digital reading with the bearing and the degrees angle. Just to mention that on the GWG-1000 Mudmaster, you can't see both the degrees and the bearing. You have to hit the adjust button to flip between. Anyway, here's some little bit of a drawing here just to show what is actually happening. You can sort of take that in your own time. I'm sure you know how a compass works. So what it is, you have to be in the home time. Compass button nicely indicated up here, just to point out that that is the only bit of information you get on the watch. Everything else has to be learnt. So I do like that. Maybe that is because it's a master of G. So you push the compass button, makes a chirp, and then it comes up with compass, and there you can see your bearing with your degrees, and there is pointing, the second hand always pointing to the north point. I say this will last for 60 seconds, and then it automatically just returns back to home time. It won't go blank like on some G-Shocks. The Mudman G9300, once the compass is finished, everything just goes blank basically. Pressing the compass button will refresh like that, nice and easy. Just to point out that if I do use the backlight, you can see that the compass has stopped. I'll do that again, pushing the light, see, and it just stops. So just to bear that to mind, you can shift the hands out the way like that, and you can just get a reading like that. I'm actually holding the backlight down, and then you lost the readings. So yeah, I've pretty much played with most of the things on here, and I have sort of worked it out. So yeah, there you go. You can get the display to show the bearing and the degrees, even if the second hand isn't working when it's in the hand shift mode. Then pressing button C will return back to home time. You can also toggle between the compass mode and the altimeter mode using the B and D button. This is the only place you can do that. So there, I've done a little drawing there. Look, show you pressing B and D as often as you like. I'm sure you want a demonstration, don't you? So there it is. There's compass. There's the altimeter. There's compass. There's altimeter. compass. There you go. So that is possible. So I think these two are the ones you're going to be using the most. They are handy there on the side. There is compass calibration. This is one of two. You either have a 2-point calibration or you can do a offset with the degrees. So let's start off with the one of two, and I'm going to give you a demonstration actually on the watch. I have pretty covered everything here. This is more or less taken from the actual manual. So let me just give you a demonstration and you can look at that at your own time. So let's go into the compass, nice and easy. Push that, comes up with compass. Then unscrew the crown, which I've already got, and then just pull the crown out to that position, and then it comes up with this icon here with the flashing arrow and then number 1. So basically what you do, you have the watch as horizontal as possible. Make sure you're away from interference from metal, so don't do this in your car, away from buildings. You really need to do this in more of an open space. You can just do this in your garden if you want, but just not near metal. That does have an effect on these digital compasses. So once you have that set and you have it level, and you can point to any direction, it makes no difference. Then you press the button up here, the compass button again. You press that, it comes up with weight. And what we're waiting for is a display to say that it's okay. And then it said turn 180 degrees. So basically all you're doing is rotating the watch 180 degrees, and then you push the compass button again. Then it comes up with weight, and then it will come up with OK, and then that should be calibrated. And there it is. It's calibrated. Now that's going to be very, very wrong because I'm in my light box and it's going to be completely messed up. So once you have that set, you just push the crown back in and then that is done. Now, if it's not calibrated properly, then the display here will flash. So let me just give you a demonstration. So let's push that. Like that. You have to wait for the hands to stop before you push the button. This is quite sort of normal. So waiting for that, there it goes, 8 degrees, then turn like this. I've noticed that the second hand actually does do a little notch. Watch this. See, it just moved a little bit. What was it? There it goes, it moved again. And then it comes up okay. So that is calibrated, push the crown back in, and then that is now completely messed up. And as I mentioned, when that's flashing, that does mean that the calibration is wrong, or it just might need a quick refresh on the compass. But if it continues to flash, then unfortunately you have to pull the crown out. Anyway, so I'm not going to go through that again. You've got the idea. But if you press the mode button while the arrow is flashing, you can now offset the degrees here like that. And it goes into an east, and then you can go into a west, and you can advance by going fast like this, and it will go back and forth, and you can just either turn the crown to stop, or you can push any button. I'll just give you an example. You just push that and it stops. Now if you press the compass button and the altimeter button together, this will do an off reset and then set it back to 0. And if you push the mode button here, it just cycles back through like that. So you can go through and calibrate it as often as you like. And I would recommend to calibrate this basically anytime you use it. You're just never sure, nice and easy to do. And then you know it's all good to go. So next, after the calibration for the compass, is the altimeter side. Now there is a lot of information here, but I have broken it down so it's very understandable, starting from how to start the altimeter, showing you what's actually being displayed on the watch and actually on the display, with little graphs here explaining this. And I think I'm better just to show you this in person on the watch, and also to show you how to adjust the different reading intervals as well, and then it would all make sense, and also cover the sort of auto manual side as well with the recording, and then I shall go into the adjustment side. So let's just get into the watch. Here I am in home time, pressing the altimeter button, or button D, makes a little chirp, comes up with Alti. You'll have some information. First it's drawing a graph, and then it'll give you your altimeter. Now the reading can be adjusted from meters to feet, and I will cover this when we go into the adjustment side. But once you press the altimeter button, it will make a reading or take a reading every second for the first 3 minutes. Now there is an adjustment that you can have the altimeter running for 1 hour or up to 12 hours. Now if it's running for 1 hour, then the readings will be more precise, because after those 3 minutes it will start taking a reading for every 5 seconds for that hour. Now you can adjust this and have a reading for every 2 minutes, which will last up to 12 hours, which is really good. So just to point out that the graph here is measuring a total of 50 meters, and every one of those blocks is 10 meters. The second hand is taking a difference, and this is using the over and the under, as I mentioned before at the beginning of this tutorial. Now usually it starts off at 0, and then you can see whether you're going up or down, and I will show you how to calibrate that. But for at the moment, for every one of these segments, so you've got 1, 2, 3, and this goes also the other way, I have this set to 10 meters. Now you can adjust this to show this at 100 meters. So at the moment, this is going to give me a maximum. When it's down here, it will give me a negative of 100 meters and then a positive of 100 meters up here. So you could actually have that as a positive of 1000 meters, which I will show you. So at the moment, that is showing the difference there as a negative of 20 meters. Now, if I press the adjust button once, the second hand will no longer be the difference reader. It will now read the seconds. So for whatever reason you want to have the seconds counting while in the altimeter, it is there. And if you press again, it will go back to the difference. Now you can offset the difference here and zero this out, and it's a long press on the adjust button. Just hold it down like that. It comes up with off difference, and then it comes up with reset. And you can see that is zeroed out. Let me do that again so you can see what's happening on the display. Difference reset, and then it goes to reset like that. And then that is calibrated. Now this could be a good way of saying, if you were climbing a hill and you've got to the top, you have your meters there, you have a difference, maybe it's up here somewhere, and there's a tower and you want to climb the tower and you just want to know how tall that tower is. Then you can just hold down the adjust button there, reset the difference, and then climb away, and it won't disturb the actual reading you have here. The graph will also adjust when you go either up or down, but if you press the altimeter button again, this will refresh the graph and then start from every second a reading over the next 3 minutes. So there, just give you a demonstration, and it comes up like this. Now it will have 6 segments shown with the 7th segment flashing, so that's all you're going to have displayed at one time. Now when you have the altimeter running like this, it will be taking automatic recordings. Now this will be a minimum, a maximum, the ascending and the descending recording. But you can also enter some manual recordings by pressing a long press on the altimeter button. Give that a little press and it comes up with record, and what that will do will take a time and date stamp and record the altitude, but it also resets your graph, and you can store up to 30 of these at once in the watch, and you can recall those later, which I will cover. You can also use the record button just to record a time and date and sort of ignore the altitude just by a long press like that. So that sort of expands the uses of this watch. So this will be all stored in the watch along with your minimum and maximum and your descent and ascent, but you have to leave this running if you want the ascent and descent to be accurate, and as soon as you come out it will stop that and then start over again. So if you're planning to do a longer hike, I would recommend to set that for the 2 minutes, so that it runs for 12 hours. So just going through here, just to recap, there I've done the little diagram there, I've highlighted it just to show you what's happening there. There is the difference there coming down to show you how to reset the difference. And then I've included the graph here as well to show you the difference between either the 10 meters or the 100 meters. And again, just to cover, autosave is performed only while the watch is in the altimeter mode. And then it's going to go into the adjustment side, and this is one of 4. And I've covered everything in here. So what I think I need to do is just really show you how this all works on the watch, so you can sort of follow that at your own pace. In altimeter mode, you pull the crown out to the first position, and then the hands will set to the 2 o'clock position. Okay, now I can adjust the altitude, and it's just turning the crown. You can either go up, going clockwise, or counterclockwise. You can go down, or you can do the 3-click setting, which will adjust. I don't know if I can do it. Yes, I can do that. There it goes. I am about 92 meters, so if I stop that, I'm just using the pusher to stop it, or you can use the crown or any of the pushers really. So 92 is where I'm at. So once you have your altimeter set, now I would recommend to do this every time you use the altimeter, because it is using the barometric pressure sensor, which is used on the barometer. So when the weather changes, you will get different readings. So if I set this for 92, you can sure bet that tomorrow that's going to be a completely different reading. So always calibrate this before you use it. So once you have your altitude set, you press the mode button down here, button C, and this will go for the initial. Now I've mentioned here, that is now flashing for the 2 minutes. Turning the crown, you can have it for 5 seconds. So do you want the altimeter to run for 1 hour with more accuracy, or do you want it to run for 2 minutes and every 2 minutes over 12 hours? I prefer to run it longer because I'm always longer than 1 hour. So once you have that adjusted, you press the mode button and it goes to the difference. There you can have at 100, as I mentioned, turning the crown, and you can adjust it to 1000 meters. So that would be 100. So 1 to up to 1000, not for every marker at 1000. So just to clarify that. And because I'm in England, we don't have 1000-meter mountains around us or Alps, so 100 meters is a perfect sort of difference for me. And then pressing the mode button, it goes to unit. So turning the crown, you can adjust for meters, or you can do feet like that. Nice and easy. And then pressing the mode button again will just cycle back through. So you got the meters, you got the initial there, you got the difference indicator, and then you got the meters, and then back to meters. And then once set, you just press the crown back in. And now you can see my difference indicator has gone right down. It's pointing to 6 o'clock there. I want to calibrate that. Just a long press on the adjust button, comes up with difference reset, and then that is all zeroed off. And I say you can use the light and the mode button there to shift the hands, and it will hold it there for 10 seconds, or you can just keep the light button down and that will just continually work like that. So yeah, anyway, there's some choices there for you. Oh, actually, when I released it, it continued on, so maybe you can't do it that way. Anyway, I've just found out something new for you. And just one more thing, you see that the minute hand is obscuring the display. When I enter the altimeter, the hands will move, you see, just for a moment, for a couple of seconds, and then goes back down again. So I do like that. In the GWG-1000 Mudmaster, it doesn't do that. So some things to think about. Hey, just to recap for the adjustments of 1 and 4, first off you have the meters here. There you can see it flashing. Then you have the initial reading there. You can change from 2 minutes to the 5 seconds. Then you've got the difference there from 100 to 1000 meters. And there, just to give you more examples there of how it all works with the over and under. It's all there. I don't really want to sort of make this video too long because I have it already there. And then you have the unit adjustment from the meters to the feet. So just to show you that I have covered everything. So the next one on the menu is menu 8, and this is from the mode side, and this is the barometer. Now I have got everything listed here with the drawings, and I've positioned where the buttons you need to press. So everything is there. So from home time, press button C to select the barometer mode. The subdial will point to the barometer, and this is the subdial I mean, this one here. So you've got the barometer and you've got temperature. It will point to there. The display will show the pressure, and it will also show you the trend graph, and you can see here with the animation. So here's some good information here to understand how it all works. Once the barometer mode has been selected, a reading will start recording every 5 seconds for the first 3 minutes, and then every 2 minutes while the barometer is open. Now after 1 hour it will return back to home time, and then it will take a recording every 2 hours. Now pressing button D will refresh the recording back to every 5 seconds for the first 3 minutes, and then every 2 minutes while it's open. The barometer will still continue to take a reading every 2 hours even if in home time, and the pressure graph will be updated. A barometric warning alarm can be selected, which is explained further, so I will come back down to that. So let me just explain to the graph here. So that's time elapsed, and that's the air pressure. So if that's going up, that's a good thing. If it's coming down, it's not so good. It could possibly be bad weather. The graph shows the pressure trend over the period of 20 hours. Each block represents 2 hours. Now the second hand can be used to indicate the pressure difference as well, and pressing button A will swap the second hand to be used as the main second hand in the main time, much like in the altimeter. And there is that covered, and there's some more information there just to indicate what the over and under will represent with the difference indicator. And this is just basically taken out of the manual. I've sort of just a bit cheated, but I have highlighted and added a little bit of colour just to make it a little bit more mine. And then I'm going to cover the baro warning setting as well, and I'm going to put this in my pressure pot so you can actually get an idea of what it looks like. Just to let you know that when the baro is selected, it will work for 24 hours, and it will be taking a reading every 2 minutes, and this is also in the home time. Now if there is a sudden increase in air pressure or a decrease or another sort of drop and a rise, then you will get one of these icons here displayed. Now this will be switched on for 24 hours, and then after that it will turn automatically off, or if you hit a low battery then it also turns that off, and I will cover how to turn this on and off. And so let's get into the watch and show you how it all works. So I'm in home time. Pressing the mode button will move the subdial here. This hand will point to the baro, and just to show you again that this minute hand will move for a moment. So if I go into the baro, it comes up with baro on the display. A minute hand does move and then it goes back. Well, I need to adjust this minute hand because it's going to be annoying, so I shall be back in a minute. So I have the minute hand out the way. Let's push the mode button and hit the barometer. Comes up with baro. And there is the graph shown here. This is showing you over 20 hours. Just want to point out that it won't be flashing like it was doing in the home time. This is the actual graph. This is your actual trend. And then you have your air pressure here. The second hand is going to be showing the difference. That is on 0 here. And if it goes up, then that's good pressure. If it comes down, that's not so good, so bad weather. Now this does self-calibrate itself, so If you are going up, so the trend is going down, this is obvious because you're going up into the mountains. Now if you just settle for 3 or so minutes, then the difference indicator will come back to the 0 point. So just to let you know that this is really not really useful when you're climbing around, going up into the mountains and the Alps. This is more focused when you're on a stable sort of platform. So if you hit camp, then this is great for that night. At least you can monitor the weather better, otherwise it's going to be all over the place. Well, I hope you understand that. Pressing the adjust button will make the difference indicator now act as the main second in time, and press again, it goes back to the difference. You can do it like that. So for whatever reason you want the second hand running, then it is nice and easy to get to that. It's just a simple press. Now you can refresh this by pressing the altimeter button just the once, and that will refresh the barometer and then taking the readings more accurate over those first 3 or so minutes. Next I want to turn on the borough warning, and so when you've got the barometer open, you press the adjust button for a few seconds, it will come up with info and then it will have on, makes a little chirp, and then you'll have the borough icon displayed there, and this will appear in the home time as well. Just going back to home time, there it is. Just put that on the date so you sort of give an idea, and it is displayed like that. Now that's going to run for 24 hours and take a reading every 2 minutes, and say if there is a warning or a very sudden decrease or increase in air pressure, then you will get a warning tone, but you won't see the actual icon unless you are in the graph. So if you do hear that audible tone, you just select the barometer graph there on home time, and then it will come up with an indication with an arrow. So let me just give you a demonstration in my pressure box. Now I'm just going to increase the pressure, and there you can see it's going up, and that will just flash, and that also will work while you have it in the barometer mode as well. And if you come out of the barometer in the home time and you just go to the time or the date, you can see that the arrow is disappeared, but as soon as you go into where the graph and the date is, then you can see that the arrow is back and it's flashing. The icon will flash while there is sudden or in decrease in air pressure, and once the air pressure stabilizes, then it will go back to the graph automatically. To turn off the barometer warning indicator, you enter the barometer mode like so, and then it's a long press on the adjust button. It comes up with info off, makes a little chirp, and then the borough icon has disappeared, and now that is turned off. So I've covered the warning there, I've shown you how to turn it off. Now I want to show you there is some adjustment, so let's go into that. I've got everything written there, so you can change the unit as well, you can change the difference, and went a bit too far there, went into temperature. So let me show you on the watch. So I should have the barometer still open, there you go. Then it's pull the crown out, unscrew the crown, pull the crown out if you haven't, and then it comes up with the difference here. Now this is a point I want to cover. Now you can find the difference or the air pressure from the website or from your local newspaper, and really this is just a number that's related to who exactly? Well, what I found out is that I am now going to adjust this to my needs. Now at the moment the weather is stable, so by turning the crown I can adjust this. I can go backwards or forwards, and you can also do the fast clicks as well. I'm going to set this at 1000, so when it's stable good weather, I know at 1000 that is what I need to be looking for. Now you could adjust this accurately to what you need if you wanted to, but really this number could just be anything. It just needs to be related to what you need it for. So maybe that's an idea, wanting to know how to calibrate it properly. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ignore all what's out there and just focus on what I've learnt myself or taught myself. If you press the mode button from here, you can now change the unit. Now I have mine on hectopascals. You can change it to inches of mercury. You just turn the crown and then it just shifts that over like so. You just go like that, very easy. And then once you have that adjusted, You just press in the mode button and it just cycles back through. That's all you can adjust through that. But just to show you that if you did have that on a, I don't know, odd setting like that, and you weren't sure if that was to the factory reset, you can press the altimeter button and the compass button together and it will come up with off, and that is a factory reset. Now I can go to the temperature side, and this is on menu number 9. Now let's have some information here. Taking a temperature while wearing the watch will give a false reading to the air temperature because of your body heat. Now for best results, remove the watch from your wrist and let to settle for 20 to 30 minutes before you take a proper reading. From home time, you press button C 2 times and the subdial will point to the temp, showing temp on the display. So I don't really need to go too much into this, but I want to cover this bit here quickly. When left in temperature mode, a reading every 5 seconds over 3 minutes will be taken, then every 2 minutes for the next hour. And then pressing button D will refresh the temperature reading. So if you want it more accurate for those first 3 minutes, then just hit button D. And as mentioned, the temperature mode will automatically return to home time after 1 hour. So in home time, I give it 1 chirp and I give it a second chirp, and then it comes up with temp. And this is taking the temperature from the back case there on the stainless steel part, and that's why you really shouldn't have it on your wrist. It's just too much heat. Now you can use that in several ways. You can test this in water temperature, you can test this in heat if you wanted to, or cold and so on, but it's all down to your choice there. But to actually wear the watch to get a true temperature reading, forget it. And I've heard some actually calibrate that to their body heat, but of course when you get sweaty and hot, your temperature increases, and again, when you have the sweat glands producing more sweat and liquids, and you have the cooling winds, and it just goes on and on. It's just take it off the wrist is the best thing. Now if you pull the crown out, do have an adjustment. You can adjust the temperature here, so you can calibrate that against your thermometer. And like in the other mode, if you press the altimeter and compass together, it comes up with off, and this is basically resetting it to factory. Now once you have that set, you press the mode button, and here you can change the unit, so you can have Celsius, or by turning the crown you can have Fahrenheit, and then by pressing mode it goes back to the degrees like that. And then once it's all set, push the crown back in and that's ready to go. And as mentioned, if you press the altimeter button while the temperature is open, it just does a reset, and then you have more accuracy over those first few minutes. In the instructions there, it's all with the adjustment side. I've done it all with diagrams to make it really easy. There's your unit. Now the next one is menu number 10, and this is the recall. Now this does pretty look quite confusing, doesn't it? Do I show you on the watch, or do I actually ramble on and show you how all this works? Maybe I need to show you how it works first, and then I can explain that in more detail. So from the temperature, when I press the mode button, it's going to go to recall, but I'm just going to quickly just mention something before everything happens too quickly. It's going to come up with recall, then the subdial will point to the recall there, and then it will come up with the date, and then it will go to the time, and then it will show you the altimeter reading. So let's do that quickly before the second hand gets excited. So recall comes up with position 1, there is your date, and then it swaps back to time and the altimeter. Thank you, second hand. It flashes quite quickly and you've lost the date and the position, but if you press the adjust button just the once, it will come up to what position it is, show you the date, and then it will go back, so at least you know where it is. And using the altimeter button and the compass button, you can now skip through. So that was the first recording I did. I did a second recording, and I did a third recording, and I say at any time you can press the adjust button just to see where you're positioned. Then pressing the altimeter button, it will give me the max, as you saw, shows the date, and it shows you the time with the altimeter reading. Then it will give you the minimum. Again, it all keeps cycling through with the date, time and the reading. and then you've got ascending like that with 102 meters, and then you've got the descending like so, and then it cycles back, and then you can go backwards as well. So you can go backwards easy, and I say it does store up to 30 manual recordings, and when it gets to recording number 31, it's going to boot out the recording number 30, so it basically just overwrites it. Now you can select a recording, say I wanted number 3 and I no longer need this. You can delete it, and then it's just a press on the adjust button for a few seconds. There it comes up, clear, makes a chirp, and then that is cleared. So now I should only have a maximum of 3. So there we go. So 1, 2, 3. So I can just delete that again. Comes up with clear. Now if you want to do a new hike or new walk and you want to take a new automatic reading, then really you want to just clear everything, and this is possible by pressing the adjust button for a few more seconds. Comes up with clear, and then keep it held and it comes up with clear all, and then release, and now everything is reset. So if I go through with the altimeter button, it shows you maximum, it's zeroed out, minimum, all zeroed out now, and then it goes back to the first one again, that's all zeroed out. Just to mention that if you are in a mode that has no adjustment, if you pull the crown out, it will just come up with this icon here, just to say that you are being silly. Push it back in. Back to this diagram here, which is looking very, very complicated. Now I would break this down into the colors of the buttons so you can at least follow which way is going there. Now also it's broken down into different parts as well, because you've got the memory side, you've got the maximum, you've got the minimum, ascending and descending, and you've got also a low battery. And then if you go through the button A, this will just indicate what is actually being shown, because once the date has passed, then it just goes to the time and the actual number, where you press button A and it just highlights what you're actually on without going backwards and forwards, which sort of gets all complicated. This does look more complicated than it is, and this is taken actually from the user guide, and I say it isn't easy to follow, but I'm trying to make it better with the colors. So you've got the backwards and you've got the forwards, so like that, so you can skip to each screen. So just look at these as screens and then going backwards like that, and then just pressing the adjust button will give you what you are on the listing, what the heading is, and that's it really. So hopefully you understand that a lot better. And then here I've done with the deleting, you can do it singly or you can delete all of them, and it's all written here with the clear all side. Very easy to follow. The next one I want to cover is number 11 on the menu, and this is the stopwatch, and this is the 24-hour stopwatch. Now this is a very sort of simple stopwatch with this start stop with 1 lap time, but I've included all this here. You probably would understand this all easily, but it is all there. I just want to note, just to mention that the stopwatch mode can indicate a lapse time of up to 23 hours, 59 minutes, and those seconds with 1/100th of a second. An ongoing elapsed time measurement operation will continue internally even if the watch is in another mode, so you can just basically just leave the stopwatch running and be in other modes. However, if you exit the stopwatch mode while in split time is displayed, then the split time will not be displayed when you return to the watch, and I think this is pretty standard in G-Shocks. Why they don't have the lap time held once you exit the stopwatch, I don't know, so maybe you can address that, G-Shocks. But let's have a little look at the stopwatch anyway and show you how it all performs. Again, the second hand is very, very excited, can't wait to be involved. So let's go through the barometer, the temperature, the recall, and then it comes up with STW stopwatch, and I actually have it running for some reason. So let me stop that and reset that and start again. So you have the hours, the minutes, the seconds, and the 1/100th of a second. Simple start stop using the altimeter button there. You can see it far and away. Now, there is a difference between this and the GWG-1000 Mudmaster, is that it won't show the hours while it's on this side here. Once it's got to 1 hour, then the 100 seconds disappear and then all this shifts over, where this displays everything and doesn't do any of that shifting. So another side to sort of think about, especially if you're comparing between these two. So nice, easy stop, start, using the altimeter button like that. And once you stop, pressing the compass button just resets it. Let's start the stopwatch again. Pressing the compass button will give you a split time. It comes up with SP, and also the little dots there will be flashing. And so if I press the altimeter button there and stopped the stopwatch, you can see that the points now stop, but it's still flashing there. And so that's your first split time. That's your second split time by pressing compass, and then pressing for the last time just resets it. Again, if you pull the crown out, it will punish you and tell you to push it back in. So after stopwatch is menu number 12, and this is the timer. Now the timer is only 60 minutes. Why only 60 minutes? I'm not too sure, but anyway, you can't do anything about it. And so it's all very, very simple here. I've laid everything out, even how to adjust the timer here. And so you can follow that, and to show you how that works, it's just very easy. Start, stop, and resume and reset. So let me just go through the watch with you so you can actually see it in more sort of hands-on. So in stopwatch mode, pressing the mode button, there it goes to timer. And I have the minute hand, so let me sort that out. So let's get into the timer, and I just want to point out that this subdial is so good, because it means you can just fire through very quickly and find the timer, just like that. And you saw the timer actually flash past, and then it starts off with 10 minutes. Now this is the factory setting for the watch. It's 10 minutes. Pressing the altimeter button there, and then it counts down the seconds, and then the minutes like that. There is no quick reset using the buttons. You have to push the altimeter button and then press the compass button to reset. But there's a twist, because if you start it, pull the crown out, push the crown back in, it's already reset like that. So you do have a couple of options to reset it. Also, if you do have the timer running like that, and then you pull the crown out, you don't have to stop it or reset it. You can just adjust it nice and easy like that. And it does have the fast forward and fast return. But I'm just going to show you that it goes down to 1 minute. And if I turn it again, it goes straight into 60. That's all you have. Look, believe me, I'm pushing the mode button. It doesn't shift any further. So I just want to give you a demonstration. That is set for 1 minute. And then we'll start it. So I just want to give you a demonstration of what it sounds like, because we like these kind of things on these tutorials, don't we? Yes, and just to mention that you can push any button or even pull the crown out to stop the alarm, and it will sound for 10 minutes. 10 seconds, I meant, being professional. I'm actually looking at the second hands and then looking at that and thinking, here it goes. Not bad, not bad. Let's pull the crown out. There you go. See, pulling the crown out stops it as well. And that's it. That is the timer covered. Just to recap, just to show you that in the instructions for the timer, I've included how to adjust it with pulling the crown out and all that side. I've even mentioned about the crown can be pulled out anytime to adjust, even when running. And this will also reset the timer. So everything you need. The next menu is number 13, and this is the alarm and signal. There's 5 daily alarms and an hourly signal, and just to show you how all that works. Very, very simply done. Look, I've laid it all out nice and easy, just to show that it goes up to 5 alarms and then signal, and then it will go back to the alarm 1. Also showing you how to turn the alarms on and off. And I think the best thing to do is actually just get into the watch and show you how it all works. Like I've even shown you how to set the alarm like that. I've really just made it more basic. I mean, the instructions are really good for Casio, but I've just made it a bit more simple, and also having a tutorial makes it nice and fun as well, doesn't it? So let me just hit the mode button just the once, and it comes up with the alarm straight away on the display. And first off, it's come up with signal, and you can use the altimeter button and the compass button to scroll through backwards and forwards. So let's go forwards just to show you. Alarm 1 comes up with AL1, and then it goes straight to the time. You see, AL2 straight to time. And notice I like that it actually comes up with off as well, with all the Fs. Go 4, 5, and then it cycles back to the signal. Now you can turn the signal on nice and easy, and you can turn, and this goes for the alarms as well. And just say you can go backwards using the compass button like so. You just press the adjust button once, and it comes up with on, and then you get a little icon there for the signal, and that's just turned off and on like that. So let's just turn that off, and then just looking at the alarm again, you can just press the adjust button once and have that icon there for the alarm ALM displayed. And I'll say, if you could just set all 5 alarms, you could just skip through which ones you need very quickly and just simply tap on the adjust button and turn it on. So that alarm is on. So if I go through, you can see that all the others are off, 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 and then it comes on. So nice and easy to find. I really do sort of like that size. So well done, Casio, 6 years ago. Now there is an alarm test, and if you press the altimeter button now, it doesn't matter which alarm you're in or if you're in the signal, just a long press on the altimeter button there comes up with that. And I have also tried that with a long press on the compass, and it doesn't work. And just to give you another demonstration, that when it's on signal, you pull the crown out. You are told and spanked to put it back in again. Yes, I'm covering everything, just my curiosity. So let's select the first alarm and let's turn this on. So when you pull the crown out, straight away the time will flash, but it will also turn the alarm on. And note that the hands are actually out the way. For once, second hand, you are out the way. Always try to cover the display. But if I push the crown back in, you can see that the second hand's just done it again. And you can see that that's on. If I press the adjust, I turn that off. If I pull the crown out and then push it back in, it's already, see, you can see that it has set that. So anyway, so what do we have on the display? It's showing the time when it's all flashing, which is all very unusual. But this means that you can use the crown and adjust both the minutes and the hour together. It's very, very simple like that. And I do sort of understand why they've done that, because if you've got that, say, on 59 and you don't want to cycle all the way through again, and you just want to change the hour. Hang on, my finger actually did move that. You just push the mode button and now you can adjust the hour independently. So say I wanted it 1:59 for some odd reason, push the crown in and that is set. Otherwise, if I want to come back out and go, I really want that at 2 o'clock. There, so you have that side as well. So I think this is pretty, well, it is not pretty, it is actually brilliant. I do like that. I would like to see that more often appear, so you can quickly, go through and adjust it that way. Anyway, so the alarm is set, and I don't really want that on, so I press the adjust, and I think I'm done with this side. Alarm goes off for 10 seconds, pushing any button to turn off. Now I've covered it. Alarm sounds for 10 seconds. Stop alarming. I've put everything you need to know is in here. So the next one is menu 14. This is the WorldTime. So you have CityCodes plus UTC, making it 29 possible CityCodes. So there it is. I'm just going to show this part here. So when you go into the WorldTime, the ring here, the mains hands will adjust to the WorldTime. So yes, it's the WorldTime now being your main hands, with the second hand pointing to the WorldTime CityCode. The display will now show your local time with HT, so home time, also including the A and P side here as well. So while you have the WorldTime open. So after 5 seconds, the second hand returns back to timekeeping mode. And when I show you the demo, you'll understand what's happening there. And pressing button A will move the second hand to point to the world city code for 5 seconds and then return back to timekeeping. And then pressing button D will show using the second hand in WorldTime City to show you whether it's AM or PM. And again, after those 5 seconds, it returns back to timekeeping. Note, when checking either the WorldTime City code or AM PM, when the seconds are 30 to 45 seconds, the seconds hand will set back in reverse. Now, this is an observation I did on my own by playing. It's not mentioned in the manual, and I will give you a little demonstration of that. So let's go into the WorldTime. I've got a little itch. Oh, home time. Did you see that? Went to home time automatically. Well, that was good, wasn't it? So here we go. And it's all written in the manual as well to explain what just happened there. If you leave a mode open for a certain amount of time, it will automatically go to home time. Anyway, I seem to be rambling. So you saw WorldTime WT. Sorry for my dyslexic trying to work it out. Hour and minute hand is now set to the WorldTime, and this is my home time as mentioned. So if I push the adjust button, let's see what WorldTime we have. It's pointing to New York City, and then you see that go backwards. Watch that. Watch the second hand go backwards. You know, when it goes all the way around, then normally it just goes forward like that. So with my playing around, I realized that once it gets to from 30 seconds upwards, it goes backwards. Someone's programmed that, haven't they? They've made it work like that. So if I push the altimeter button, this will give me the AM and PM like this, and this is still on AM, and then it goes back. So you can just keep pressing that and just keep looking, or you can just press again and then it just goes back to normal second counting like that. Push the wrong button. Let's try not push the wrong button. So I'm going to go quickly through the modes. Look at this. You can really see the subdial there counting all the way through. So you can really get there quickly. I do like that. And if I push the button there, you see it goes to the city code and then it goes backwards. Look at that. Very cool. It's just a recap there. There is some adjustments. So if you pull the crown out, the second hand will point to the city code. So using the crown, I can now select another city code going backwards, and the time will adjust once you let it sort of settle. So I'll go back to New York. You can see how that does that. Now, if I push the mode button, I also get the option. I can force the daylight saving on or off. There is no auto. And just to point out that when you do have it off, when you do have daylight saving time off, that the icon goes off, and when you have it on, it comes on like so. So when you're going through the city code, so if I press the mode button, it just cycles through. That's the only two adjustments you get. So you can see that the daylight saving time icon is on, but if I start shifting through, you can see that it's turned off. So you can just get a little idea what is turned on and turned off when you're shifting through. So it can just jolt you. It is all very, very small. So it's a little detail you just need to pay attention to. So I've now got that set to the New York City. I've got my daylight saving turned off. Maybe I should turn that on. I think so. And then I just push the crown back in, and then that is set. But there is some more features, because you can actually change the world time to become your home time city. Just a long press on the adjust button, and it comes up with city and that little icon there, and then the hands will swap. Now this is the New York time, and that is London time. So if I wasn't sure, just press the adjust button, and that will tell me the world time is now on London, like that. And I can just press the adjust and see if it's AM and PM, and there it's gone to PM. You can swap back. It's just another long press, and then it just swaps it back like that. Now if you do swap it and the atomic syncing does support that time, then it will automatically update it. You won't need to do anything about it. Just went backwards on its own like that. Very, very cool. And good job, I've got the instructions here. There is a UTC WorldTime QuickSet to reset the world time to UTC mode. So let's do a little demo on that. Well, thanks to myself. Pressing the altimeter button for a few seconds will come up with UTC on the display. make a chirp, and then the second hand is reset to UTC, and then it has adjusted the time. Just to show you, look at that. UTC. Well, I forgot about that. Good job, the instructions has reminded me, and also good job I put them in there as well, because that is very handy for you pilots, you muddy pilots. Anyway, that is the WorldTime. Let's move on to the next one. Menu 15, which is the RC Atomic Sync, and to point out that this syncs 6 times a day between 12 AM and 5 AM, and once successful it will no longer look for a signal. And I've put everything here, including the searching signal strength, which I will cover, and how to turn it off and on. So let's just get into the watch and really give you a hands-on. So that's in home time. Let's blast through the menu like that, WorldTime, and then it's RC. Really do like that. I keep repeating that, but that subdial saves a lot of time, at least 5 seconds out of my day. Display came up with RC, and then it shows you the last time it synced with the time and the date like that, and that's all it does on there. You can pull the crown out and you can turn the auto RC on or off just by turning the crown. So if you're in one of those locations like Australia, you don't really need that, so you might as well have it off and save the might as well have it off. And then once that's adjusted, you just push the crown. There isn't any other adjustment. That's it. Pretty basic. Now you can manually force for an RC signal, so make sure you're sort of near a nice bright window, or basically not in a concrete box. So it's a long press on the altimeter button like that. It comes up with RC, and then it comes up with the second hand going up to 12, and then it does this action, and then here you'll either have nothing, which means that you're not getting a signal, or it comes up with the signal strength. So L1 is weak, L2 is medium, and L3 is what you need. Now it will take up to any time from 2 minutes to 5 minutes, and I've got an L1 in my light box, very impressed. And then once successful, it will come up with get, and then display the actual date and then the time, and then that's it really. And then it goes back to timekeeping mode if you do nothing after several minutes. And I've actually got an L3, so I might just actually leave this here and actually give you a demonstration of what it looks like when it gets. And if the time sync fails, error will be displayed. And pressing mode takes you back to home time. You can saw the battery level there, so long press comes up with time, and then it comes up with the battery level. I've done that before. That is the basic functions of the watch. Now I want to go further. I want to take you to a very, very secret place called the test screens. Now this is on menu 16. The test screens are broken down into several categories, starting with HOD, City, RCV, SLR, TLT, MVT, SFT, Age, PAL, JTR and AT. In case you hit panic and you need to eject from the test screen, pressing the backlight button at any time will end the test screen. And just to add that there are some features that do adjust things in the watch, but don't fear, it won't delete or wipe the memory or anything like that. This is purely just a test screen, and it's Whoops 69 approved because I love pushing buttons. Let me just give you a quick tour through the test screen instructions here, and you can see that I have been very, very busy. I've got everything. I've included animation as well through all the test screens, so I feel like pictures are really, really useful. Anyway, it goes all the way through, on, and I've covered everything. So let me just go very back to the top again and start off with the very first one, and this is the HOD, and this is to test the LCD. So to enter the test screen, it's pressing buttons A, C and D together, and when you press that, it will come up with HOD on the display. Just to give you an example, once you have HOD displayed, by pressing button B, the first part of the LCD test display is shown, and here I have listed all the different test screens. So you press button D will display an additional 4 LCD test screens with the 5th press exiting the home time. So in this case, it does exit for you automatically, and some others actually do that as well. So let me just give you a demonstration on the watch. In home screen, pressing the adjust button, button D and button C together like that. It is that easy. Then the second hand goes to the 12 o'clock position, and then you have HOD. Let me just give you a quick run through all the different screens. So by pressing the altimeter button here, button D, you can cycle through, and you can see there all the ones I've been saying all the way through, and then comes back to HOD again. And you can go through and choose any one you like, and to select you press the compass button, button B there. So in this case I'm going to select this one, and then this is the first part of the test screen. Now note the second hand is ticking, and when I press the altimeter button, that goes to the 12 o'clock position, and then there's another display there. Then pressing the altimeter button again, you have another display. Then you have this number here, and this is the actual module that's in the watch, not what's on the back. Now I did sort of talk about this in my review, so you can sort of find out a bit more about that, but that is the number 5365, that's the module. And then pressing the altimeter button again, it comes up with 006, and then it takes you back out into home time. So from the HOD is the next one is the city, and this is the atomic CityCodes. So basically this will allow the second hand to point to London, Paris, Hong Kong, Tokyo and New York City. This is the one that can adjust the home city, because if you press button B, this will adjust the home time to the selected city code. So let me give you a demonstration. So hitting the 3 buttons goes to HOD, and then pressing the altimeter button selects the city. So let's press the compass button, and then the second hand whirls around, and that's already pointing to New York. Now if I press the altimeter button, it does a 360, so this is going to be the beginning. So that's New York City. Pressing the altimeter button goes to London, goes to Paris, then it goes to Hong Kong, and then it goes to Tokyo, and then back to New York City. So let me give you an example. If I put that onto London and then press the compass button, watch that adjust the time back to London. How cool is that? Let me just go back in again and select the city. There it is on London. I want to go back to New York, then press the compass button, and then it adjusts like that. So that could be a quick feature to get to your home city, hey, if you're in one of the 5 locations there from the atomic side. Next one is the RCV, which is the atomic signal code. And here it's going to go through several here. It's going to go through the Japan, it's going to go through China, Germany, it's going to go through America and England, and then there's a couple more codes as well. Select one of the atomic signal codes and press button B, and RC will be displayed. Pressing button D will display the city code, adding NG at the end. This works for all atomic signal codes. And if you press button A, this will add a 1. So let's have a look in the watch. So let's enter again, go into HOD, and then let's find the RCV. There it is. And then press the compass button, and there is the first atomic city code. So J40, that's Japan. Then pressing the altimeter button, that goes to China. Well, the other atomic signal which covers China. Then you have U60, which is USA. Then you have D77, which is Germany. L60 is the United Kingdom. And then you have these 2 here. So are they in reserve? We don't know. Anyway, if you select one of these, say I select Japan and press the compass button, it does RC and it will try and look for a signal. Now if I pressed again, it comes out and then it has this NG, notice? And if I press the adjust button, it comes up with 1. How very, very strange. Look, now everyone has a 1 next to it. I have no idea what that means. And if you press the adjust, you can remove that. So if I went to L60, this is my city atomic city code. If I press the compass button in straight into RC, and then it starts looking for a signal strength. Not sure I'm going to get this in my light box at this moment, but it will calibrate the hand to that city code. Pressing the light button will just exit. There we go. Next one is SLR. This is the solar charging test. So once you're in, you press button B and the display will go blank. Cover the display to test the solar charging. If 888 displayed, then the solar is working correctly. So back into the test screen, SLR. There it is. Pressing the compass, activates it. There you go. Blank screen. I was going to cover it. So basically I'm shielding this solar panel. Let's do that again with knocking the camera, and there you can see it's got the 888, so you know the solar is working. Next is TLT, and this is not tomato, lettuce and tomato. This is auto tilt test, and this is basically what you have on the auto light. So once you're in, you press button B and the display will go blank. Lay the watch horizontal and tilt towards you. If 888 is displayed, then the auto tilt is working correctly. Lay the watch horizontal to repeat the test. So let's get into the watch. So back in, HOD going through. We want the tilt. There it is. Activate it by pressing the compass. So blank screen, tilt the watch and go back, and you see it goes 888. So I have to be quite quick, and then it goes off. So you can repeat this test as many times as you like. Next one is MVT, which is the compass test, and this is very basic. So once you're in, you press button B and E00 is displayed. So that is about as exciting as it gets. So here we go. I'm going to cover it anyway, and there it is. Then press the compass button, and then it just comes up E00. So that's a good thing. Next is SFT, which is the minute and hour hand alignment. So once you're in, press button B and min-1 will be displayed. Then pressing button D will display hour-1, and then back to home time. There it is. And then press the compass, and there it comes up with min-1, and then pressing the altimeter button there comes up with hour-1, and then press the altimeter button again, goes back to home time. I think you're going to like this one. This one's called age, and this is the double ticking second hand for the low battery indicator. And to operate this one, once you're in, press button B and the second hand will double tick, and there it is, age. Now press the compass button and watch the second hand. Look at that, double ticking. That is really, really good, isn't it? And then when you come out of it, it will stay in the same place where it is in the home time ticking position. The next one is called PAL, and this is the hour and subdial test. Now, for those who watched my tutorial on the Mudmaster, wondered how I made the subdial hand spin, well, this is the place. This also makes the hour hand spin as well. So let's just get into the watch and show you how I did it. Once you've got power, you press the compass, and then the hands align to the 12 o'clock position. Then pressing the altimeter button will scroll through a couple of windows here, or displays, and the one I'm looking for is the HR, which is the hour hand. So when you press the compass, the hour hand would do a 360. Look at that. How really cool is that to see? And you can press it again, and you can press it again and again until the battery's flat, I guess. Anyway, we'll wait till that's stopped, because then I'm going to show you the next one. Then press the altimeter, it goes to the sub, and this is how I did it in that video. Pressing the compass and it does the 360. Look at the sub dial turning around. How funny is that? Anyway, and then when you press the altimeter button, you just basically just cycle all the way through back to there again. Just press the light button to eject. JTR is the next one, and this is the temperature sensor test. So once you're in, press button D and OF0 is displayed, and then it's followed by J1. There it is. I've put some animation there to really show how it all works. So let's have a look in the watch. Going into HOD all the way through, tilt, movement, SFT, age, power, JTR. Press the compass button, it comes up with OF0. wait, and then it goes to J1. And the last one is AT, which is the altimeter test. So once you're in, you press button B and 0 is displayed after 2 seconds. SFT, age, PAL, GTR, and there is AT. Then just press the compass button and 0 comes up. Oh, well, actually came up a lot quicker. Sometimes it takes about 2 seconds. Anyway, that is the test screens all covered. So that's the end of the tutorial. How useful did you find that? And having instructions for the test screen, that must be a first. Come on. Anyway, you'll find the link in the description, and it is in a PDF format. And if it works on my BlackBerry, then it's going to work on any smart device, I'm sure. Anyway, I'm getting a little bit giddy watching that. I now need to get the watch here. That's pointing to New York City. That is pointing to London. Pressing the compass will now give me London time. And that is the time. As always, thanks for watching. Well, that was a bit soft, wasn't it? That's better. Oh, I think I chipped it.